I know, I don't give up, do I? I just keep pestering you. Yeah, Amy responded to me this morning and said, by the end of the week. I'm like, that's cool. I just want y'all to. It's okay. I'll let Bridget know by the end of the week before we responded. It's going to go to the next month. I'm going to let them go ahead and, because I had quite a few comments on that. The school was my main concern. They showed the school on the map, but they didn't mention it nowhere in the traffic. They didn't mention it nowhere in the plan. I'm like, come on, you know? And so they got to address that.
Then I got the story.
2 minutes.
She looks so regal.
Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Good morning. Yeah, stuck me with it. I could have got caught up on some stuff today too.
You could bend him, Ron.
That's okay. We'll get through it. Y'all just keep me straight. Morning, Sam. How are you? Got about a minute. Go ahead. Okay, it's 8:30. We're going to get started. We have minutes to read and approve. Has everybody had an opportunity to read the minutes? Can we get a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes from August 1st.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carries. We have any announcements this morning? Karen, anything? Okay, so we'll get started. Our first item on the agenda is the PCH office building, and this has been reviewed by Bob Baranti. Bob, if you'll introduce it for us.
Sure. There's a memo in your packet asking for a continuance to the December meeting.
Motion to continue. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Our second project on the agenda today is Southeast Storage. This has also been reviewed by Bob Baranti. Bob, if you'll introduce it for us.
Sure. There's a memo in your packet asking to continue
Okay.
till the December meeting.
What's it?
Motion to continue.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Karen, what date is that December meeting?
The 7th
7th?
5th.
or 5th?
The
sorry.
5th, okay. Third item on the agenda this morning is Alice Beach Block BB and CC. This is a review by Tim Brown. Bob, would you introduce this for Mr. Brown?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a minor development or application submitted by Interlight Engineering Corporation requesting approval to develop 7 residential lots in Block BB and 17 residential lots in Block CC with associated improvements in the Alice Beach PUD up on 4.99 plus or minus acres with a future land use of traditional neighborhood development. There are a few comments, nothing that couldn't be resolved, so I will turn it over to the applicant.
Thank you, Bob. Good morning, committee. I'm David Smith with Interlight Engineering, and we have received the staff report. We've reviewed the comments and agree with Bob. The comments are all minor, so I'd be happy to answer any questions that you all may have.
Renee, I just want to mention in here, in the staff report, it says that no comments were received for the engineering. I had a chance to review it yesterday, and I didn't have any comments in regards to the site plan and or the traffic.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any other questions for the applicant? What would be the recommended motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to recommend that we conditionally approve pending successful resubmittal.
Simply get a motion.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4 on the agenda is 30 Avenue, less than minor. And this has been reviewed by Tim Brown. And Bob, if you'd introduce it for us.
Yes, Madam Chair. There is a continuance memo in your package asking it to be continued till the TRC meeting on December 5th, 2018.
Can we get a motion for that continuance?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So that item's continued to December 5th. Our next item on the agenda is the cottages on 393 South Platte. And
Madam
this,
Chair.
so this is also a Tim Brown project. And Bob, if you'd introduce it, please.
Madam Chair, this is a plat application submitted by Emerald Coast Associates Incorporated requesting approval to plat 38 single-family residential lots and pool amenity on 14.27 plus or minus acres with a future land use of small neighborhood and neighborhood infill. There appears to be just minor comments, and I'm looking for recreation fee of $17,907.72 will be due before platting. A 911 fee of $500 will be required before platting. And a recording fee of $75 will be recorded at the time of platting. I will turn it over to the applicant.
Dean Burgess with Emerald Coast Associates. We received the comments and we agree they're minor in nature. Once they're responded to, we request that the motion be that it go before the Board of County Commissioners for approval.
Thank you, Dean. Is there any public comment on this project?
I just have, well, I think it's a technical question.
Okay.
It says it's 14.27 acres, but the plat said 13.14. What's the correct acreage of this development?
It would be based on what the survey is, ma'am, and I'm not the project manager and don't have that. Let's see. We've got it on the site plan here where we can tell.
Let's see, what's it say?
Dean, can you respond to that?
It should be the 13.14. We can confirm that.
We'll make sure that gets clarified before we get to the Board of County Commissioners.
So this will go straight from TRC to BCC?
It does.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there any other comments or questions for this plat? What be the recommended motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to conditionally approve pending successful resubmittal and moving it on to the appropriate Board of County Commissioners meeting.
If we can get a motion from the board.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Our next item on the agenda is Watercrest Assisted Living and Memory Care. This was also reviewed by Tim Brown. And Bob, if you'd introduce it for us, please.
Yes, Madam Chair. This is a minor development order application submitted by MBV Engineering Incorporated requesting to approve to construct a 337,154 square foot assisted living and memory care facility and associated infrastructure on 7.74 plus or minus acres with a future land use of Town Center 2. And there just seems to be some minor comments, and the applicant is here to address any questions that you may have.
Good morning. Todd Howder with MBV Engineering, the engineering firm representing Watercrest. Just want to make one clarification. The actual square footage of the building is only 61,090 square feet. The 337,154 is actually the total site area for that. So I just want to bring that to staff.
61,990
61,090 square feet.
square feet.
Yes, ma'am. And thank you, Bob. And we are receipt of staff's comments. We don't have any issues. We see they're all very workable with staff. The only questions I do have is I understand, listening to the gentleman, that we haven't received engineering and traffic comments yet, and I guess we'll just look forward to working with you and receiving those comments in the future.
Yeah, I had a chance to review it yesterday, and the county should be forwarding to you
Okay.
today if they haven't already. The only main concern I had was that I believe you guys modeled the 100-year storm event and showed the maximum stage.
Yep.
However, I need to see a pre-post analysis of that the discharge to the mosquito control ditch. The maximum stage obviously is above your discharge elevation, so just want to see that those rates are.
Absolutely, we'll provide that. We'll update the report, provide that to you. Is your contact information going to be in the staff so we can coordinate with you if we have any further questions outside? Okay, fantastic.
Could you send those all to me? Obviously, I didn't see them,
Yes, sir.
please, and then I'll forward them.
Bob, I did review this, and based on the scale and the program, and I'm sure there's some operator error involved, but I was coming up with a different width on the road, so maybe after the meeting, we can talk offline and
Yeah,
and provide that for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because my initial comments were, they didn't meet our access requirements, so.
Okay. Yeah,
Thank you.
we can actually just, yeah, and we have room to work with on the project too, so, certainly.
Okay, this is the only hearing for this, being it's a minor development order. Is there any technical comments from the audience? Being none, what would be the recommended motion, Bob?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a recommendation to conditionally approve pending successful resubmittal of the application and move it to the DO stage when it's appropriate.
What would be the wishes of the board?
One question I had before the south drive aisle is within the 10-foot landscape buffer. And I don't know the dimension off that south property line to the edge of pavement. It appears to be 4 or 5 feet. Is that going to be an issue for you to adjust your layout to make that, I mean, without substantial changes to your?
Yeah, no, I've actually created an exhibit before I came up here where we have room that we can modify and push that to be the 10 feet. Yeah, I actually already did that before I came up, and that'll be on the resubmission, so.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion's approved. Next item on the agenda be Habitat for Humanity Restore. This has been reviewed also by Tim Brown. And Bob, if you've introduced it to us.
Yes, Madam Chair. This is a major development order application submitted by Emerald Coast Associates Incorporated, requesting approval to develop 21,652 square feet of retail, office, and warehouse use and associated infrastructure in 2 phases on 9.94 plus or minus acres with a future land use of village mixed use. Madam Chair, the comments seem to be addressable. The applicant is here to address any questions you may have, so I'll turn it over to the applicant.
Dean Burgess with Emerald Coast Associates. We've read through the comments, and I only had a couple of questions. A lot of the comments seem to revolve around this being a 10-acre parcel. We're only developing a portion of that parcel. We don't have a problem doing it as a master plan where this will be a design phase and the remainder will be future development. And then the idea would be, if the county wanted us to plat it, I think is what the acceptable method was, it would be platted once the development order's, issued, and we could do that during construction, and as long as the plat's done by CO of infrastructure, I think is how we've done it in the past. But there were some comments related to scenic corridor plantings being the entire width of the 10-acre property. I was just going to ask if it's appropriate for us to respectfully decline to do that, landscape our property when the future developments come in. They would be obligated to conform to the scenic corridor plannings, because we have no idea what the configuration of those properties are gonna be.
So, understanding you correctly, basically, the project that you're building at this time, you're more than willing to landscape and make sure all the improvements are done on it, but the future development, you'd like to hold the landscaping at that time.
Correct. Right,
I don't see an issue with that.
all right.
Does anybody else see anything that would?
So would it just be a two-parcel plat, in other words?
Actually, 3. We took our half out of the middle.
All right.
I would reconnect with Tim on that, just to make sure he doesn't see something in the scenic corridor guidelines that requires it.
Yeah, when I got the comments, I sent him an email and I got the auto reply that he's out, so
Yeah.
I just wanted to get it on the record.
So
in
touch
TRC.
base with him before you resubmit,
Okay,
make sure.
appreciate it.
Okay. Is there any other technical comments from the public? Seeing none, what would be the recommended motion, Bob?
Madam Chair, since the comments are minor in nature, I'd like to recommend conditionally approve pending successful resubmittal of this project, and then at the appropriate time, move it on to the planning commission.
And what would be the wishes of the board?
Motion.
Or actually, DRB.
Thank you.
Did you motion?
Yeah, we'll make
I'll second that. I've reviewed it. You'll get, if you haven't got the comments yet, you'll get them today. And there's nothing that will hold this thing up, so I'll second that.
Okay. So this project will be going forward to the DRB next, and then the planning commission and board of county commissioners. All right, we can get a vote on the motion. Everybody say aye, it's in favor.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All
Thank
right,
you.
our next project is gonna be Sunset Key Cottages plat. And this has been reviewed by Kelly Frymeyer. Morning, Kelly.
Good morning.
And if you'd introduce the project for us?
Certainly. This is a plat application submitted by Rare Earth Incorporated seeking approval to plat 8 single-family residential lots and common space, plus or minus 1.03 acres, as the Sunset Key Cottages residential neighborhood. This is a small neighborhood infill project. The plat matches the development order, and there were a few minor comments, mostly enhancing labeling for that. The recreation impact fee is $5,215.20. 911 fee, $100, and plat recording fee of $30 for this one, and our applicant.
And the proportionate fair share is still
Oh.
due on this project?
Sorry, yep,
Okay.
$11,000, $11,820.
Okay, normally the proportional fair share is paid with the development order,
Okay,
so that kinda needs to get paid before this keeps moving forward.
I will double check on that one.
Good morning, Shannon.
Good morning. Thank you, Ms. Keller.
Have anything for us?
I'm Shannon with Rare Earth. We've made the changes for the comments and have affected those on the new drawings. They'll be submitted shortly. And I will contact our client post haste to alert them to the fact of the proportionate fair share that's due, well, chop chop.
Yeah, on residential, we try to get the money with the development order. Now, when it's commercial, we can actually hold it, at the building permit stage, but we need to get this paid before the plat moves forward.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What be the recommendation, Kelly?
Motion to conditionally approve, pending satisfaction of comments and paying of the fee, and move forward to the Board of County Commissioners.
I apologize. Is there any public comment on this project? Seeing none, what be the wishes of the board?
A motion to, everything Kelly said.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Our next project is Hidden Pines at Mac Bayou Park Stormwater Retrofit. This project's also been reviewed by Kelly Frommeyer. Kelly, if you introduce it for us.
Yes, ma'am. This is a minor development order application submitted by Nautilus Civil Engineers, requesting the approval to develop a master stormwater plan for 7 existing residential lots of Hidden Pines at Mac Bayou subdivision. Total property is about 2 acres. This subdivision was platted in 1984 without the benefit of having a master stormwater plan. And the intention of this minor development order, the property owners would like to have a master stormwater plan for their development so that it wouldn't fall on each individual lot to develop. And so that is the purpose of this submittal. There are a few comments related to that review. And probably kind of the most significant is the development of an HOA document or some sort of common maintenance guide for that development. Otherwise, I think it's pretty manageable.
Yes. Good morning, Curtis.
Morning. Yeah, like Kelly said, this was an in-house review by Rita, and our only really significant comment is the HOA documents. Those are in the works by the client's legal team. We'll have that probably within the week, so this one should be good to go.
This is a really good thing. Glad to see the subdivision doing this.
Yeah, I wish there was a little better avenue than a minor development order. I was hoping for a less than minor, but from what I understood, we couldn't go that route. We're not doing less than minors for any longer for those that don't have development orders. So.
That's correct. Is there any public comment on this project? What be the recommendation, Kelly?
Motion to approve, pending the resubmittal and satisfaction of the comments.
Thank you. Be the wishes of the board. So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, our next project is going to be Wagner right-of-way abandonment. And this has been reviewed by Vivian Shamel. Morning, Vivian.
Good morning.
Can you introduce this project for us?
Yes, thank you. This is a petition for abandonment submitted by Mark Davis on behalf of Arthur Wagner, requesting Walton County to abandon the south half of Valparaiso Street along lots 4 and 5 of Block 13, and all of the alleys in Block 12 and the alley between lots 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 of Villa Tasso subdivision. This request has been reviewed by Public Works. They did have their pretty much standard comments. I don't know if they have anything else they'd like to add at this time. And also I have pending comments from the North Walton buyer. I don't know if you...
I wasn't aware that I needed comments for an abandonment. I can look at this whenever we get out.
Yeah, I think probably in this case it'd probably be a good thing to look at.
Okay.
We can get together afterwards with the applicant.
Yes, ma'am.
And go over it. The applicant would like to address something regarding the title. And so at this point in time, I'd like to turn it over to the applicant.
Just a couple of things on the staff report. We have, I believe, resubmitted the O&E, the ownership report, ownership title report. The ownership title report had referenced the property as being located in Okaloosa County. It's obviously located in Walton County. That's been, I believe it's been resubmitted. We also are waiting on certifications on the surveys. The surveyor went online to check Chapter 11, what he needed to put on there. Chapter 11, for some reason, was not online. So we're trying to get that resubmitted here fairly quickly. As for the title, you'll notice the title search says this property is still owned by Tasso Orr, who was actually the original developer of the Villa Tasso plat way back a long time ago in the 20s. However, she also recorded, remarkably, in the
forgive me if I don't remember the time, the 40s or the 50s, an easement to Chelco. And in that easement, she states, although these alleys and roads have not been dedicated to the county, they are intended for, quote, public use. Well, most title companies, as I understand it, are treating that as a de facto dedication, for lack of a better way of putting it. So that's why when you see the title work, it's going to say the property is owned by somebody else, but the county has an interest pursuant to that recording in the properties. Just want to make sure that was clear.
So Mark, on the plat, is it dedicated, is the roads and anything dedicated to the county?
There is nothing. on the plat.
Nothing referencing it at all?
And quite frankly, we were interested in why the county was, why the title companies were so interested in the abandonment, why the county had to act, and that was the reason, because they found that recording. So, it's an interesting title question.
Sounds like it. Is there any public comment on this project? Being none, what would be the recommendation, Vivian?
I would like to recommend a motion to move the request forward to the Planning Commission, pending resolution of all title issues in fire review.
Does Public Works have any questions or any additional comments on this project?
No, this one.
So what would be the wishes of the board?
Motion to approve the abandonment.
To move forward or to approve the abandonment? Move it forward.
Approved by resolution.
No second to this motion, so the motion fails.
This is the North Walton project, right?
So the motion has failed to move this project forward, so do we want to bring it back to the next TRC? Haven't had to quite deal with this before, when the motion fails.
This is a first for me as well.
Is there a technical reason? I'm sorry.
Well, the motion has failed for lack of a second.
Yeah, I'm just curious if there's a technical reason why we're not moving it forward.
I think that the motion was to approve it, not to move it forward, and that may be why it's not getting a second.
Can there be a second motion not to approve by resolution, but to approve to move forward to the Planning Commission once we've resolved the title issues?
The title issue, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to correct you, the title issue doesn't need to be resolved. We're of the opinion that Ms. Orr owns the property, but the county has essentially a dedicated interest by virtue of that recordation. So that's why we're asking the county to act on abandonment.
So can we get a change? Bob, would you like to say something?
Madam Chair, the policy is what asked it to be approved, that the appropriate action is to move it forward for consideration. There's no action to approve or deny.
And that's,
Do I need to rescind my motion or do it?
yes.
So I'll rescind the motion to approve said abandonment, and would like the motion to move this abandonment forward to the
Planning Commission for recommendation to the board. And we have a second, and this project will move forward to the Planning Commission. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank
The motion carries. Thank you.
you.
And we're adjourned. So I was trying to help you. I was like, we need to move it forward.